And I'm with Sam, by the way.
Hello, hello.
Yes, he's a regular. He's been on this before. One day I will release all of the vlogs. It's gonna tell the story of the journey of growth and self-love and compassion and all of that. And Sam has actually been part of that story for a year. Actually, literally a year ago, we started this, documenting everything, and me just going out there and speaking to people and speaking about confidence and attraction and dating and stuff like that. But now I'm going more into the spirituality, what makes people feel authentic and genuine and connected to their spirit. And I don't have any other way of expressing that. You can call it God, you can call it like the universe. I just simply say the spirit, like whatever it is you feel inside you. And I think it's important to spend time with that to really know what it is that you seek. And it's never going to be outside of you, it's always going to be inside of you. So I believe that, and I think it's important to do that spiritual work. It's extremely noisy in the world, all kinds of things tempting you to do this, that, and the other thing, and you should want this, you should want that. That's how they sell you shit, remember. And truly you don't really need much in life. You can actually have all those things coming from you and be abundant, and you are in the position to give, and in abundance you can influence people's lives. I believe that. Now, how do we get there? Okay, that is the question. Okay, all of us walking around the city doing this, that, and the other thing, struggling, trying to make it, trying to get there. How do we get there, man? How do we get there? What have you been feeling in terms of in your own journey? What is like the next step you feel like, in your journey of whatever that means for you, fulfillment and reaching that type of peace in your life? Do you have any idea that's currently like on the top of your head?
Yeah, I think it definitely comes from self-love. I know for myself personally that I've definitely struggled with that, and I think a big part of what you want to explore is authenticity. And I think a big part of coming to that kind of authenticity and your quote-unquote true self is spending time with yourself and kind of digging deeper to see what you really love about yourself. And I know it's definitely not easy. It's a lot easier to hate yourself or to be hard on yourself for all kinds of different reasons. And I just think it's really important for us to recognize we're not, it sounds corny, but we're not perfect, and we're all human, and a lot of the mistakes we make, or our defaults can seem, malevolent or like evil sometimes, or just you can be disgusted by some things that you do, but a lot of these things are natural and just come from a place, well, I know for myself, come from a place of not being really in touch with yourself and in touch with your self-love and security within yourself. So I would encourage people to, what I did is really just made a list of all the things that I love about myself.
Yeah.
and the different aspects and different reasons that I believe those things, and also what I want to work on. So yeah, I would say that's a big part of coming to authenticity and compassion for others. Is first having compassion for yourself and being kind to yourself. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Cool. Okay, man, that's amazing. One question regarding like self-love and how you find it. Do you find it challenging sometimes to be attuned to that self, to be compassionate, and what might be some things that might distract you away from that? Do you have something that comes to your mind?
Yeah, for sure. I would say something that I've struggled with recently is having a defined sense of morality. And because, you know, in our world these days, unless you've grown up with religion in your life, or with a really if your parents really instilled a sense of morality within you, we're all kind of walking around with different senses of morality. So especially with all the different things in social media and whatnot, just everything that we're being bombarded by, it's hard to really know what's right, or what your morals are. So I know that I've struggled with finding that for myself. And you know, there's different ways people find that. A lot of people find it through religion, and I can definitely see the value of religion in that. So yeah, I would say just questioning, what your morals are, what values do you want to have as a person, and that kind of can help ground you in yourself.
Where do you think you draw most of your values and principles from, like as a person that is 21 years old, young man?
Yeah.
You know, you're going through the experiences in life to find yourself. Where did you get your guidance or values and principles that keep you on track right now? And this is bound to change over time as you learn lessons and whatnot, but from where you're at, where do you think they come from?
Yeah, I would say in large part they've come from my parents. I grew up in a very stable and loving household, so that really helped me, that really helped guide me through what respect looks like, what a healthy relationship looks like. I'm not perfect in any sense, but that helped guide some of my values. And then I would also say different family members like uncles and aunts, and honestly through some of their more Christian values, just
they're
like
Christian, they grew up Christian.
Exactly. So through their values of acceptance and giving back to the community. Also, my parents are really involved in the community. That really helped shape my values of community, of respect, and the whole kind of do unto others as you want to be done unto you. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think community is super important, and I'm kind of going through like it's I think a transitory period. I'm finding community in people that are surprisingly, I never thought I would even say this, like more religious. Like I didn't come up religious. I was even, as a rebellious teenager against religion. I'm like, oh, religion is the root of evil, and they're like causing all the problems. And I would wear very offensive t-shirts that had like crossbusters on them, just very rebellious, whatever, typical stuff, right? Little punk rock kid. And now I'm just surprisingly finding like a community that I relate to, coming from that background, and I subscribe to all the things they talk about, and a lot of them aren't like super like preachy about it. They just believe in what they do, and they're very accepting and actually extremely compassionate, even to those that they don't agree with, I find, in my experience lately. And I find that's actually the opposite, where people that are not religious or maybe coming from like a conservative or a spiritual background, they tend to be even more like closed-minded, which I find it to be surprising, because it used to kind of be the other way around, or that was a stereotype about it. But now I'm finding that people coming from this community, they have a sense of community with like open-mindedness and compassion that is kind of ingrained in the culture. They're very accepting, and I'm finding that to be very surprising. Did you have that kind of experience in that community, growing up in that community, do you find? I'm just curious as an outsider, to be honest.
Yeah. And I would say also more recently, I was kind of putting off telling a good friend of mine some things about what was going on in my life, because I was afraid that he would judge me, especially through him kind of finding finding God, and you know, he got baptized recently, but I actually found him to be the most forgiving and most kind of accepting, and have the most to say, you know, regarding forgiveness and what I've kind of just said about morality, and yeah, just a really wholesome conversation.
Awesome, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. No, it's been in my experience, and yeah, I think forgiveness is a big part, and like that just goes back to compassion, because no one's perfect, and you know, let's say there is the right way to go do something, and that is, let's say, in the eyes of God or whatever, your spirit, which is aligned to you. You know, you kind of you know what you need to do, but then you're gonna make mistakes, and if you're kind of connected to that spirit or the voice or whatever you want to call it, you're gonna find your way, and it's kind of like that will guide you at the end of the day, and you do have to forgive yourself, you know, you have to, and hopefully other people that love you do that also, accept you, you know, they still think you're a good person, they still think that you have a good spirit, and that you will find your way, and that they're actually supportive, like especially in the times when you need it, right? It's like, especially when we do make mistakes, it's like, well, who do I have to count on except those people that still love you regardless, you know? It's this unconditional support that you get from them, and I think that community is important, you know, and I think it's hard to find these days, I believe. I think everybody sort of subscribes to like ideas of tribe, kind of just on a superficial level, I feel like. And it's tough to find, I feel, the sort of a deeper sense of community, unless I feel like, you know, people that are maybe coming up in, I guess, conservative or traditional types of values, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, you know. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Any last words?
Yeah, I've definitely felt the same way about kind of looking for community, lacking community. I can say for myself, I've been looking in places where people with the same interests kind of get together. I've joined a book club recently, so that's been
Nice.
cool. And yeah, I would say, just if you feel like you're lacking community, kind of just reach out, see you know, what kind of gatherings are out there, and put yourself out there. You know, people can seem sometimes closed or whatever, but if you're just putting yourself out there, you'll find your people, you'll find your tribe.
Awesome. Right
Yeah.
on. Any book you would recommend?
What can I recommend? A book that I really enjoyed was *Sapiens*. It's kind of about our evolution as humans, and you know, like where culture comes from, and yeah, it's a really interesting book.
Yeah.
So check it out.
That's a very highly recommended by a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, bro.